Last year, I created a written tutorial on making a custom grid in the print module of Lightroom. Today, I'd like to show you an audio version. So the first thing I want to do is select the images that I want to use in the grid that I'm about to make. And for me, the easiest way to do that is to identify through the star filter what images those are. When I import my images, I use the star coding on all of them, and from that I can select the images that I want to use. All of these images have a 3-star code. So once I have my images, I go to the print module. And just to back up a little bit, you could make a smart collection or a collection. There's a number of ways to select the images that you want. You could also color code, but I just like the star system. That works well for me. So click on the print module, the top right here, and this grid is showing up because that's the last grid that I used when I did my January favorites. So what we want to do is go to Layout Style over here on the upper right, and again we're going to make a custom grid, so we want Custom Package. Click on that. Then we go to Image Settings. I don't need to rotate them to fit. I know they're all going to be fine the way they are. I don't choose to have a photo border nor an inner stroke. You could do that if you want space between your images, but I will have mine butted right up next to each other, so I'm going to leave those off. The next area is Rulers, Grid, and Guides, and I want to make sure that my grid snap is on off. I do want to see the guides for the ruler and the image cells particularly, so those are checked. I drop down to Cells, and this is where I'm going to tell the Lightroom what size I want those cells to be, but we'll come back to that in just a minute. The thing that I can do here now is clear layout, so it'll clear off the grid that I was working on before. If I look at Page, the background color is white, and I'm okay with that. If you're concerned about there being a little bit of space between the images on your grid, you could click on the color and use the color picker to pick a dark gray or a medium gray. That way, if there's any space between the images, it will be muted with the gray rather than so stark with the white. But I'm going to leave white for today. I don't want an identity plate or watermarking. I'm good with all of that now. Then I go to Print Job. Before I print, I'll want to make sure that I have JPEG file clicked, 300 for my resolution, and quality will be at 100. What I want to do right now is select the file dimensions. I am making a 5x7 card, so I want to choose 5 inches in this area by 7 inches in this area. And that gives me a 5x7 layout to work with. Now I'm going back up to the cell area. This is where I'm going to tell Lightroom how large the cells need to be. I have a 5x7 card in which I want 3 images wide and 4 images long. So I know that the width of my card is 5 inches. I know that I want 3 images across the card. So when I divide 5 inches by 3, I get 1.66. That's how wide the cell needs to be to fit 3 across the width of the card. So when I come over here, one of the easy ways to do this is to click on an array that, or a dimension that I think I won't be using. So I don't think I'll use 2.5 much, and if I do, I can always, oops. I wanted to click on the down arrow and go to Edit. So the custom size I want is 1.66. This is left over from last time, because that's how wide I need it to be for 3 wide. Let me cancel this out because it's thrown me for a loop here. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and click on the down arrow. And actually, let's not use that because I have my other dimensions in there. Let's see if this is better. Okay, so 8 by 10, I'm not going to use that. I'll go to edit here. And what I want now is the dimensions that I'm going to use for my 3 by 5. Now this kind of seems backwards to me, and I'm not quite sure why it's set up this way. I haven't figured that out yet. But in this second cell area, dimension area, I need to put my 1.66 in that area. And that is the width of the cell for the top row, for all the rows across. Then for the column, I need to divide the 7 inches in length by 4 because I want 4 images stacked on top of each other. So 7 divided by 4 is 1.75. So now I've created a little box that's going to be 1.75 by 166. And I'm going to add that. Not only does it add it to the 5 by 7 card, it adds it in the block where I was working over here earlier. So when I hit the drop down menu and I got 8 by 10, I edited that, although Lightroom saved it, edited it to 1.75 by 1.66. And every time I click on that, Lightroom will insert a new box with that size for me. So I just keep clicking until I have my 3 by 4 array. Now if you'll notice, there's a tiny bit of a border on the right side here, and I think that's just because the 1.66 went farther out than what the numbers show. So I just want to pull that out. So I click on the border, I get the little double arrow, hold my mouse down and pull it out to the edge. And really, this isn't going to make a huge difference on this particular array, but I don't want that edge to be blank. I want it filled with the image. So there's my grid. I have a 3 by 4 on a 5 by 7 card. I hope my math was clear for you. Anyway, now I'm ready to start inserting the images. So I come down to my film strip on the bottom and I just start picking images and clicking on them and dragging them up and releasing with my mouse. And it doesn't really matter what goes where at this point. I'm just going to insert a bunch of different images in different spots. And let's see, I think I already used that one. So let's go here. And we just click and drag until we have our array full of images. And I'm sure that there's some I forgot, but I'll use a couple twice, I guess. Okay. And actually, I already have this one down here, and I did a flip, so I'll move it there. Okay. So now I have my card filled with my array of 3 by 4 images. So I need to come over here to the print job area, and I've already verified these settings here. So all I need to do is make sure I've got sRGB, come down to print to file, click on that. This little window pops up. I'm going to save this as my sock grid. I'm not going to tag it, although you can. I might put greeting card or invitation, something like that in the tag area, but I don't feel like I need that. So right now Lightroom is going to post this in my 2018 folder, and that would be fine. I don't have another folder that I think is more appropriate for it at this point. I could put it in January, or I haven't made a February one yet, but I'm okay with it just being in the January folder. I'm sorry, I'm okay with it being in the 2018 folder. So once you've figured out where you want Lightroom to save it, you've got the name, just click on save and it will save the JPEG for you. And that's really all there is to it. I hope I didn't confuse you with the math. There's just a few simple things you need to remember, and I hope you have fun with it. Give it a try, have some fun with it. If you have any questions, please contact me, email me, or make a suggestion or a question in the comments on the website, on this blog post. Okay, thanks.